Morning all, hope you're well. Week 5. Let's kick off straight away with what you're going to be reading about. You're going to be reading about space exploration. So we've taken a step up from planets and solar systems, and we're going to read through about space exploration. Now what you've got in your book here is reading to do first up. Do that first. Okay? Hopefully you've watched this clip, but by now you should know, read through it just slowly. Take your time. And that's going to lead to what we have in our word study this week. There's a timeline there that talks about the various things that have happened in space exploration. There are questions in the word study that ask you, what's the difference between, one of them is, what's the difference between the way the USA went into space and the way Russia went into space? That's got to do with the landing. There's a clue. And also it's got to do with the comfort that astronauts and so forth went by. You're going to find the first creature in space wasn't a human. It was a little Jack Russell. You'll be able to find out a little bit about that. Now, it's in there, the information, but you might want to go and look for a bit more. There's this thing called the internet that's got a lot of stuff there that you can pick up. Use the first time you pick up the booklet to read through and see what our focus is for our language. There's also some work on nouns and adjectives and things like that. It's fairly self-explanatory. I just want to go over a bit of punctuation and things, which I normally do in third term. When you get further down into the book, you're going to come into some fractions, of course. And this week we're looking at how we add and subtract fractions. Add and subtract fractions. Now, see these two words, like denominators? That is the clue. That is the only thing you need to know. The denominators of the fractions have to be the same. You have to imagine that it's like adding apples and oranges. You can't do it, but you can add oranges and oranges, and you can add apples and apples. Think of that. Think the denominators. They're not the same. I've got to change them. And you know how to do equivalent fractions. So, if I'm given an equation like I have to add a half to 3/4, you look at it and go, oh, most people go, that's 4/6. Because we just add the bottom and add the top. We can't do that. The denominator has to be the same. So, this one, half and quarters, what can we change them into that would make them the same? Lucky for us, one of those denominators there, we can actually turn it into one of those denominators, one of those groups of fractions, and it will work out quite easily. It's not going to be a half. Generally, if this one goes into this one, we look for the largest denominator. That's our rough way to do it. Look for the largest one, go, oh yeah, 2 goes into 4, 4 goes into 4, we're right. Well, 4 goes into 4, so we just put it up there, 3/4. 2, we times by 2. We times this by 2. Okay? Now, we've got like denominators. We've got 5/4. 2 plus 3 is 5/4. And that's an improper fraction. So we turn that into 1 1/4. How do I do that? Of course, 4 quarters make 1 whole. There's your 1 whole. Another 1/4. 1 1/4. That's pretty straightforward. Must be like denominators. Usually the largest one is the one we work with. Leave that one the way it is. Change this one. Add them together. An improper fraction. There's our answer. 1 1/4. What would happen if we had to subtract them? This one down here. 3/4 take away 3/8. Oh, you know, that little cheeky way of going, I'll just take this one, but we won't work here, will it? 8's bigger than 4. Obviously, that's not the way to do it. So what we do is we go. Put our cross piece in. The person that names what our cross piece is on their booklet for this week wins a prize. So in your booklet, in your maths section, on our mixed numbers here is somebody write in the name of this piece here. Okay? The prize will be something you can eat. Now, we have to find a like denominator again, like we did up here. 4 does go into 8, 8 goes into 8. Looking at the other way, 8 won't go into 4, will it? So it must be this one. Leave them there, the way they were. What do I do to 4 to get to 8? I double it. Times it by 2. Times the top by 2. 6 8s take away 3 8s. 3 8s. 6 apples take away 3 apples. 2 apples plus 3 apples, 5 apples. Okay, same denominators. Pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward, just turn them to the same denominators. Next week I'm going to talk to you about something else where it doesn't easily go into here. Another question. Let's move over here to where we have mixed numbers. And I'm going to show you something a bit weird here. I've got whole numbers and I've got fractions I've got to add. There are lots of ways to do this. We can turn this into an improper fraction, this into an improper fraction, go through a whole lot of mucking about. Waste of time. Let's add the numbers first. And we use these things called brackets. You know those brackets things we talked about where you've seen them in BODMAS or BOMDAS and you've gone, yeah, why would you need a bracket? Well, this is why. We're going to add the numbers, the whole numbers. Then we're going to add the fractions. That's a bit weird, isn't it? What did I do? I took the whole numbers, I put them together. I took the fractions, I put them together in the order they came. Then, here's something also a bit weird. Put an equal sign here. And instead of going that way across the page, go underneath. I like this because it sort of makes sense. You can follow down the page. Next one. 3 plus 2, 5, plus, can't do that, can they? Halves and quarters, but we can do quarters. And we can turn a half into quarters. We double it, so we double it. And the answer is 5 plus, we get this out of the way. It's out of the way there. Next line down, we've got 5 plus 1 and 1 quarter. Remember? 2 quarters plus 3 quarters, 5 quarters, 1 and 1 quarter. 6 and 1 quarter is our answer. Okay? Not that hard. Not that hard. Now, let's change that. And let's do a subtraction. Let's do 5 and 3 quarters. Take away 2 and 3 eighths. Now, we're going to use the same process. First thing, get our numbers together, our whole numbers. Remember this though, this is a takeaway equation. So, we've got to use takeaway. 5 take 2. And over here, it'll be 3 quarters take 3 eighths. Now what am I going to put in here? And I know we're thinking it's takeaway. Well, actually, what we're doing is we're working this out. 5 take 2, and then 3 quarters take 3 eighths. So we sort of want to know what happens when we finish that and we put them together. So we're actually going to put I know that's confusing, isn't it? Last time was easy because we're adding and adding and all adding. But in this case, when we take away, we've got a whole number, take away a whole number. We want the answer to that. No. What do we call the answer to a subtraction equation? The difference. We want the difference of that and the difference of that and put them together, and that's going to be our answer. That's why we've got that plus sign there, that addition sign. If I go to the next line down, obviously this is going to be 3. And we're going to add to 3 what we get here. And that will be, now what will our like denominator be? Won't be quarters, because 8 doesn't go into 4, but 4 does go into 8. So it's going to be fairly straightforward that. We move it to 8ths. What do I do to 4 to get to 8? I doubled it, times it by 2, so I'm going to do that. So the answer is going to be 3 plus 6 apples take 3 apples is 3 apples. Okay, our final answer, 3 and 3/8. Now, weird bits. Weird bit's that, with these mixed numbers. Weird bit is making sure you get a like denominator. Okay, the like denominator. That's the most important bit. Now, for those of you who want to have a think a bit further, what happened if we had something like this? Let's say 3/4 plus 2/3. What does that equal? Because you're going to see things like that. Now, 3 doesn't go into 4 and 4 doesn't go into 3. That's a problem. So, we've got to find a like denominator. Look at this. What would a like denominator be for thirds and quarters? So something that they both go into, so we can work it out. The easiest way to do this is to multiply 3 by 4. Because you know then 3 goes into it and 4 goes into it. So let's try 12s. This one we times by 3. This one will times by 3. 9/12. We times that one by 4. Times that by 4, 8/12. Answer being 9/12 plus 8/12 would be 17/12. And that's an improper fraction. What would it be as a mixed number? 12/12 make 1. 1 and 5/12. And that's in lowest terms, isn't it? Can't go any lower than 5/12. Now that little bit at the end there, that's just a little bit of a think about what would happen if our denominators couldn't easily go into each other. Okay? Otherwise, everything works the same. When we add and subtract fractions, we must have like denominators. Okay, enjoy your week's work. I'll talk to you this afternoon. Hopefully you've watched this on Monday morning, as I've told everyone to do. And you can get a bit of an idea of what's going to happen for the week. All right. Signing off, guys. I'll see you at the Zoom meetings.